Alrighty, so let's see here. So I changed some settings to fix the delay in the stream. Apparently you guys are like 2 minutes behind on the stream the entire time. So it should be more real time. I want to know what the quality is on your side. So I'm asking if everyone can hear me okay. Because if you can, that's great. If you can't, then we got to fix something. Let's go ahead and let me see here. It looks like there might be some buffering because I lowered it down to literally no delay. I think the delay allows processing time, so I think I may add that back. Is anyone experiencing buffering? So I think there is some issues. So I'm actually okay. Let's try now. Can you guys hear me okay? Everyone there? Alrighty. Let's see here. Alright, letting it come back up. Okay, can everyone hear me okay? Can you guys just give me some sort of something in the chat? Just let me know if you can hear me okay, or if the stream is buffering for you or anything like that. It'd be super helpful to know. I'm just going to check and see what the delay is on the stream. And the way I do that is I just set a quick timer again. I'm just going to say, let's see here. I don't know if it's buffering or what's going on here. Okay. Alright, looks like it should be okay now. Let's see here. Alright, so right now, as of now, you guys should be, alright, hey YT, how's it going? Okay, you guys might be a little, okay, yeah, you're a little bit behind. You're about 30 seconds now behind me. I'm not 100% sure why that is. It should be only like 10 seconds, but 30 seconds is way better than 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and get back into where we're going to create initial spawn positions for the players so that we can change them at a later time. Because as of right now, the game is just spawning them wherever it feels fit. Real quickly, I'm just going to delete my last video of the stream in between the break because I think that's published. I just want to make sure it's not. So give me a second to delete that, and then we're going to go ahead and hop back in this. Multiplayer Part 2, that's live now. Multiplayer Top 2 Part 1. Okay, cool. Part 2 is happening right now, and that's the only one I see. Good deal. Alright, so let's go ahead and set the initial spawn positions. Okay, so currently the players are created and respawn at the origin point of vector 0. Unless you move the players before and join. So they will coexist at the same point. In an ideal situation, players should spawn in a custom position. The network start position component can be used to do this. It has a built-in feature for handling spawn positions. Alright, so to create one, we're going to the spawn position. Let's see how we do this. Oh, okay, interesting. So, network start position component. So the way this works is we're going to have a new game object here called starting position. Alright, and we'll go ahead and just set this to 0, 0 for now and move it over to like, oh no, let's do like -5 and -3. Alright, so it should be the bottom left corner. And we can add on here a starting network start position. Check that out. Alright, so let's see, as the random name suggests, random will use a random spawn point from the available network spawn positions, and round robin will cycle through all the available spawn positions before reusing them. Alright, cool. So this is our start position. Okay. Let's see. Excuse me. Alright, so let's see here. I'm just sending a message in the chat, make sure everyone can hear me okay. So, there are 2 player spawn methods, random and round robin. With random, it is entirely possible that the same spawn position will be used by 2 or more players. And game, depending on how many clients are connected with round robin, the spawn points will only be used if there are more clients than spawn points. Alright, let's see. Build and run the host, run to Unity and play mode. Okay. Now, when the game starts, the players are created at different positions in the scene. The last and final step is the respawn point. Network start position, component on spawn position, game on build an array of spawn points to choose from the players respawn. So network start position, spawn points. So network start position array, and you have multiple spawn points of those network positions. Okay, very cool. Easy enough. So I think we should just be able to do... Okay, very cool. Alright, so check this out. So starting position here is a network start spawn. And this script here, it will automatically look for, I guess, that, right? Is that how that works? Let me see here. Click on the network manager. Here we go. Spawn info. And what it's going to do is auto create player at round robin, which means it's going to go through each network spawn that we have in order in the queue. So basically, it doesn't matter which one we have this at because we only have one start position. So what we can do here, and let's see how they do the. Let me see here, 1 second, I'm just reading something on spawn point. Okay, good deal, yeah. Alright, cool. So, what we can do here is this should spawn us in the bottom left corner now. And if I go ahead and LAN host connect, you'll see it did spawn us in the bottom left corner. Great, so that's working great. Yes, I did sneeze. Okay, so everything's working great here. Give me just 1 minute, guys. I just gotta run and get a drink, and we will continue off. So we have our starting pose, and I'm trying to think what else we're gonna do next. I will be right back. Give me 1 sec. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are. Let me see here. Alright, so what we're going to do next, what's next on our list here? Alright, let's see. With this example, we've covered most of the basic concepts of networking. We have covered many of the built-in components available under networking in the editor, including the network manager, the network HUD, and network start position. There are more built-in components available, but these are more specialized, not used as frequently, and will be covered in other lessons. Alright, good deal. So basically, we got our networking solution up and running. We have our dynamic health system. We have a health system that's synced. We have our world object system in place, and we have our players synced. So we'll host the game, and I can go ahead and we can build, and we can connect. Hey, how's it going, May? Thanks for joining the stream. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out where we're at. So this is where we're at, pretty good for 4 hours, I'd say. I don't know, getting basic networking set up, never even worked on it. As well as just pretty much going over everything else. Actually, it only took us like, what, 2 hours to do this? That first 2 hours was creating the other game, or actually, no, it wasn't. It was 4 hours in the stream. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but you know what? We understand the networking behind it. And that's right. It took like an hour and 20 minutes to install Unity, so that was great. Okay, so let's see here. I want to run this guy. So this guy's going to be the host. I'm going to connect as the client over here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and connect as our host. We'll go ahead and connect to the client. As you can see, we're both spawned over there as the starting point, and we can go explore our world. And I'm going to swoop in here, get this diamond in front of him, and it disappears on both of our games. Yay. Alright, so the next thing we got to do now is, let's see, we are at a good spot. So let's go ahead and look at what's next on our Trello board and take on the next assignment, which I think is going to be a multi-chat system, which I think is what's next. Oh, actually, you know what? I know what we're going to do. First off, let's see what there is for the networking. So we have our chat system, trade system, form integration, user integration. I'm going to go ahead and do sync health. Whoops. I want to add to this list. I want to say health synchronization, and I want to go ahead and say health synchronization, transform synchronization. I don't know how the hell I was spelling it here. Alright, so we have our health synchronization and our transform synchronization. So we did our health, we did our transform synchronization, and we did our world drop system. World drop system. Alright, so we have the basis for that, okay? So we have our world drop system set up, we have our transform synchronization, we have our health synchronization. What's next probably is either going to be our chat system or our user login registration system. What I do want to do though, before we do anything, is I want to fix this issue. So when both of them are playing, it looks as if the network player is stepping, kind of, if that makes sense. So I need to fix and smooth it out. So the question then becomes, how do I smooth it out? So let's go ahead and figure that out. So we're going to say Unity 5 networking setting. Sorry, guys. Alright, so Unity 5 networking multiplayer network transform lags. Alright, let's fix this. And I think we're going to have to do some interpolation with vector3.lerp probably. So let's just go ahead and open this, see what everyone else is saying. Alright, let's see here. I don't know what the hell the internet's doing. It's like not loading this thing. Okay, there we go. Alright, so uniplayer and multiplayer. Let's see. Does anyone know how to fix the glitchy, laggy movement on the network transform? I use standard network transform settings. Okay. Try transform sync more. I found it more smooth when using character controller mode instead of transform mode. I just applied the new position receive, so your game object will be teleported. Rigid body character controller should do the job in certain manners. The last velocity is applied each frame, but you can still have the feeling of teleportation. The idea is for the local character, process the gameplay, send the current state of the character to the server validates the state and sends it to other clients. Receive new character state and put it in an array, find the closest saved states received by the server for the current timestamp, interpolation between the closest states, and then, yeah, so we gotta do some LERP magic here. They sell the high-level API as a simple and flexible stream multiplayer games where you can convert your single-player game with 3 mouse clicks. I highly doubt the network transform is just some position and rotation sending. There are parameters for interpolation, but they don't do much. I get the same results with transform mode as rigid body and character controller. They sell the high-level as I can understand if they don't offer state. Let's see, take a look inside the assembly code, you'll see I'm right. Interpolation parameter is used for the other types of sync. Any progress control lag, let's see here. Here we go, what's this guy doing? Object sync position. Alright, so we're syncing the positions. If has authority, dot position server client callback. Okay, not familiar with that, but let's see. Transmit position if has authority and vector3.distance greater than threshold. I don't really like that, just because I don't really understand it that much. I did this soon because Unet's network transform doesn't interpolate nor predicts. I don't know why it is there an interpolation factor. Alright, let me see here. Movement interpolation, threshold movement prediction, threshold rotation prediction. Alright, let me see. Send info, else reconciliation, send info. Let's see. He's doing a lot of stuff with like rotation stuff, reconciliation. Wow, I don't think it has to be this difficult. This seems like beyond the amount of work required. Let me see here. Things I said, look, I'll finally fix that issue. I made a sync transform position and rotation. Let me see here. So this is a sync. Alright, so we're syncing these positions, these guys over the network, new position. And I'm saying transfer not local rotation, he's playing turning in, move towards. Okay, he's doing a linear interpolation with move towards here. Let me see. Command provider new position to server. Transmit. So the client. Alright, we haven't looked at the client command either. So this is a shit ton of new attributes that we need to look into. I see my player move smoothly and the others not. My friends can see the player moves. Alright, let me see here. UE manual network transform. Let's look at this. Synchronize third position, server decline time. To use this component, add to the prefab or game object that you want to synchronize movement for. The component requires that the game object has a network identity. Alright, well that's a good note right there. Networked objects must be spawned in order to synchronize. Makes sense. Alright, let me see here. Character controller cached. Last sync time. The most recent time when a movement synchronization packet arrived. Let me see here. I'm looking at interpolate movement factor. It is 1. So what if I try like manipulating that? What if I make that like a 5? What is that going to do? Let's go ahead and build. And we will go windowed. Alright, so let's go ahead and host here. Alright, so it's super smooth on local player, which isn't surprising. But man, it's so jaggy. Look at that. It's not very smooth. It looks like it's, I don't even know how to describe that. Hold on. I want to see what happens if we change that value to a lower one. Alright, let's see here. So let's go ahead and build. Save, build. Alright, we'll host here. Alright, so let's see here. Yeah, and like, no, it doesn't do anything. So I don't know why, like everyone else is saying online, I don't know why that's an option. Alright. So we need to smooth out this somehow. So let's go ahead and find an easy online solution to do that. I'm going to change this to 1. And the player again, just keep it at 1. I don't really want to touch it. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's see here. Let's look at some solutions online again. What we need is, let's see. That's unified networking. What is it? Let's see, jittering when moving. My God, come on, load. Yeah, it looks like this is a very common issue. Let me see here. Alright, so I'm trying to learn the new network features. What are the meanings of the values? I understand movement threshold only sends data if the player moved more than that, but what about snapping? Does it make the transfer and jitter on a grid? Is it supposed to make the movement choppy? Can I make it 0? No matter what value I plug, my character movement is always choppy. Is there a linear interpolation? Does it handle prediction? Would it be better choice to code my own network transform? I think I read somewhere that interpolation works depending on the movement type. In particular, it doesn't work for transform movement, but does work for rigid body movement. Well, that maybe kind of sucks. Let's see here. If that's the case, we do have rigid body. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to sync my rigid body. Okay, so we're going to change that, and then I'm going to, we have to change our movement, so we can't do this anymore. Instead now we have to go ahead and say, we're going to say rigid body 2D dot position. Nope. Dang it, I don't want to use velocity. No, rigid body 2D dot. Oh, hold on, I need to get its stuff. One sec. Alright, here's our rigid body. And rigid body. Alright, good deal. So now in here we can go ahead and say rigid body dot position plus equals vector 3 dot right times input dot get access. Get access. I think get access, yeah. Horizontal. Okay, so we can comment that, take this, comment that, and here we're going to say vector 3 dot up. Although, ooh, it is a vector 2. Nice. Can I do vector 2 dot up? Yeah, yeah. And vertical. Alright, let's go ahead and try this, see if it works any better. So the player, we are now syncing our rigid body 2Ds. Alright, we're going to delete it from the scene. Save. And let's go ahead and rebuild. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Well, holy shit, it moves fast as fuck. Why? Why is it moving so fast? I have no idea why, actually. Shouldn't need time.delta time for this, but maybe I do. Let's get a new build. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go on the host here. And let's go and log in with the client. Wow. Actually smooth. Check that out. And with prediction, it continues moving to my spot. Pretty good. Alright, good deal. Check that out. So that is actually very smooth. I'm actually really happy with that. So if I go here, and yeah, bam. Alright, so let's go and add some speed to that, and then make sure that it's still pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and rebuild. Yeah, even at fast pace, nice and smooth, good deal. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so I do want to test one more thing though with this. And that is when I collect this, does it disappear before I actually hit it? Oh no. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, sweet. Cool. Alright, good deal. So we actually have our network working, and we have our synchronized health, which updates in real time. Yes, and when you die, you get respawned back to 0 as a respawn point, and your health gets replenished. So we are officially ready to continue the next step. So let's figure out what the hell that next step actually is. If we head on over to our Trello board, which one of these do we want to tackle first? I'll let you guys pick. Do you want to do, we can't do the trait system because we don't have an inventory yet to collect. So we can do a chat system, or we can do, or I'll let you guys pick between these two. We can do a user login registration system. Okay, user login registration system or a chat system. Multiplayer chat or multiplayer user login registration system. Which one? I think you guys are super delayed a little bit on the live stream, so I will keep. I'll wait for you guys to decide, but I'm trying to just think of which of ways to tackle these solutions and stuff. I'm also eating a pizza, so sorry. And give me 1 second. Alright, let's see here. User login. Okay, cool. Alright, so if we're going to do the user login, I will need a web server. So I have a website called GameDeveloperBootcamp.com, which is what I'm going to be turning my next educational thing. First it was DGI, which completely flopped, so I'm kind of doing a bootcamp thing at Game Developer Bootcamp. So we're going to use that for now, and if we can think of a game name and the name is available, then I'll happily buy the domain and we'll transfer it all over to there. So when we're creating a user login registration system, we need to look at ways to do this. So we can do this through strictly a web service like HostGator.com, and I have a Mysql Database with them, and we can create tables, and they can handle it all. They can handle the user registration. We make a call to GameDeveloperBootcamp.com. We check if that user exists, and then we will what's it called? Mind blanking here. And we will authenticate them and let them log in. The other way is I think we should look at Amazon Web Services. So what does AWS do? Right, so I'm looking to see here I want to see what Amazon Web Service can do for us. And let's see here. We want solutions, not mobile, game development. There we go, game development operation. Alright, so Amazon Web Services offers a comprehensive suite of products for video game developers, #us, across every major platform. From AAA console and PC games to educational and serious games, AWS provides the back-end servers and hosting services for your game studio. Build, deploy, distribute, analyze, monetize with AWS. Pay as you go and only pay for what you use. Focus on your game, not your infrastructure. So the Developer's Quest will walk you through the heroic journey of game development on AWS. It's not all monster-guarded treasure. We can help get you started with a consultation from our sales and architecture organization, or you can begin your quest today. Let's take a look at this.
When you're a game developer, making a game can sometimes feel like a heroic quest for monster-guarded treasure. AWS can help game developers on this adventure. You now have the power of AWS in your hands. It doesn't matter if you're making a mobile game, a social platform or online web game, or a AAA PC or console game. AWS can handle any kind of game type and genre for your development needs. Your game needs to get built and tested before release. Use EC2 and S3 to build your development and test environments, to bridge the way from your studio and get ready for launch. You can use the game engine, Amazon Lumberyard, to make a AAA quality game. Or when you want your mobile game release to go global, AWS Cognito can handle identity management, and CloudFront can handle streaming. Day one launch can feel scary. AWS can prepare you for sudden scaling needs. Don't get crushed by unexpected demand for your awesome game. Amazon GameLift specializes in scaling multiplayer games. AWS has a global footprint, with data centers and regions in every major market, so your game can reach customers no matter where they are. Knowing who your players are and how they play your game is key. Amazon RDS, DynamoDB, and Redshift can help you handle data and analytics so you know who they are, where they are, and what they're doing. Use AWS to make sure your data is ready to support design changes that make your players happy. If making games was easy, everyone would do it. We're not promising you a kingdom of your very own at the end of your quest, but many studios of all sizes are having success with AWS and their games. AWS offers a comprehensive...
Alright, so the only thing I took away from that is AWS Cognito, which is user authentication and mobile data services. Now, this is a problem. Add user sign-up, sign-in, and data synchronization to your apps. Does this work with just PC? Like, can I use Cognito Sync with just PC apps? I don't see why not, right? Using Amazon Cognito to sync data in Unity games. Let's see here. You can now start using Amazon Cognito in your Unity games to synchronize player profiles and game state with the cloud. To demonstrate how to use this new SDK, we have created a simple Unity as Cognito Sync service to save data such as character experience and level and access it from other devices. So we don't want to access it from other devices. I have no intentions of putting this on mobile or web. I want to be able to play it on PC and Mac. AWS for game developers, gaming, using mobile. Alright, let me see here. So Amazon Cognito lets you easily add user sign-up and authentication to your mobile and web apps. Enables you to synchronize data across users' devices. Who should use Amazon? Okay, Amazon Cognito is designed for developers who want to add user management and sync functionality to their mobile and web apps. Developers can use Cognito data to add sign-in to their apps and enable the users sync data across devices, platforms, applications. How do I start using it? Does Amazon Cognito expose server-side APIs? Which platforms does support? Support for Cognito is included in the optional AWS Mobile SDK, which is available for iOS, Android, Unity, and Kindle Fire. Cognito is also available in the AWS SDK. Do I have to use the AWS Mobile SDK? No. Cognito exposes its control and data API as web services. You can implement your own client library calling the server-side APIs directly. Add user sign-up and sign into your mobile and web apps. Can I have my own identity provider to support user sign-ups? What is a user pool? What user profile information is supported? Can I enable my application's user to sign up or sign in with an email address or phone number? Can I set up password policies? Can I verify the email address and phone number? Does Cognito identity support SMS-based? Is it possible to customize your sign-up and sign-in workflows? Can I remember the devices associated with my application's user in Cognito user pool? Huh. Let's see. Federate identities and provide secure access. I don't see why I couldn't do this. Let's see, key value pairs. The data is stored both locally on the device and in the Cognito Sync store. Does the number of identities in Cognito console tell how many users are using my app? Alright, cool. So I think we should do this. I'm pretty sure I have an Amazon console account. Let's see here. Hold on. Build a solution. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm just looking at some account stuff and billing to see if I have to pay anything for this. me see here. Alright, cool. So it doesn't look like I own anything. I thought I did have a balance with these guys. Maybe not. My account. Alright, so let's see here. So I want to use AWS Cognito. I'm looking for it on here. Alright, so let's see here. Nicholas Haas, hey, what would you recommend as a first project to do in terms of using raycasting in a simple player controller, such as top-down or something simple? I would look at the Unity assets for that little that kid shooter, and I would do that. Anything with raycasting, create like a carnival game where you kind of like shoot bottles or something like that. Something just small to do random things with raycasting. Alright, let me see here. So game development, Amazon Games List, I don't know what the fuck that is. I want Cognito. I don't see it here, do you? Oh, it's the mobile services. Okay. Damn. Hold on. Yeah, for a 2D game, you can create, it's using Raycast. You can create platformers. You can have weapons and platformers. If you watched the live stream earlier today, where I created 2D Mayhem, I'm actually using raycasting. Also, last night's stream, I'm also doing 2D raycasting. But 2D raycasting is very similar, and basically you can do all sorts of cool stuff with it. But you'll see ideas in how I used it. Alright, let me see here. Does AWS Cognito only work on mobile? Yeah, okay, so I don't know if this is actually the best way to do this. I think what we're going to do instead is we are going to head on over to, what's it called? Let's go in here. Whoa, wait a minute here. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. So if you're on a web service, I want to go to my files real quickly. File manager, home directory. Alright, so I don't really have, I don't have anything in here, but let me see. Oh, I did have money wasted on there, huh? Alright, let me see here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and delete this. So now, when I head on over to GameDeveloperBootcamp.com, everything should be empty. Good. Alright, so that's what we're going to use for our server. So when we register a user, we're going to store it in a database on GameDeveloperBootcamp.com. We're going to iterate through that database, and we're going to see if the user exists. If it already exists, you need to change your username. If it doesn't exist, then we will go ahead and create it. So, I think, yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. There's a lot of there's some PHP scripting involved in this. Let's see here. Foxy said tutorial, please. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain everything that I'm doing as I go along with this, but we're going to get into some SQL and MySQL and PHP queries. I've never really taught that stuff before, but if you have any questions as we're going along this, definitely let me know. When I do the Unity side, where I'm going to have like an interface to enter in a user and password or register login and so forth, we can discuss like in real time, like, hey, this is the logic for this. But what I do need to do is I do need to set a foundation for the database that we're creating. So in order to do this, let me see here. Trying to think the best way to approach this. We need to go into the PHP MyAdmin first, and let's look and see what we have in here. So where is PHP MyAdmin? Here we go. Let's go inside here. Alright, so by the way, CodeGay is my like little I don't even know what you'd call it. CodeGay, if you ever watch Silicon Valley, it's a joke from that, so in case you're wondering what it is. But that's what it is, CodeGay. Alright, so check it out. So I got CodeGay Money Wasted here, and I've done something in the past similar to this with Money Wasted, where basically I had users, and then I had columns. And you can see here that each user has a password. So basically it's just username, password. And the username is just a varchar, which is just characters and text. It's just text, basically, is the username. And then here we have a password, which is also just text. And then using PHP, I encrypt it so that if the database ever gets stolen, the passwords look like nothing and they can't be unhashed unless you have a what's called a bcrypt key. Yes, Dinesh is the CodeGay. It's awesome. So let me see here. Alright, so check this out. So if we look at our passwords or for the user table, you'll see here, this is what your password will look like. So when you enter in your password, it gets scrambled into this, and it looks pretty much identical for each one. It's just a little randomization. But what's important here is that there's a there's a security key out there called bcrypt, and it's supposed to be one of the most secure form of what's it called, you know, of security. So that's what we're going to use. All right, we're going to use bcrypt, and we're going to do the exact same thing here. So we're going to have username, password. If we want, we can have the user sign up with their email, so we can get the players' emails, and any information we want. Maybe we want their age, and maybe if they're, you know, maybe there's some regulations. If they're under 13 or something like that, they're not allowed to play. So we can get all sorts of stuff. So we're going to create some tables to get this information, okay? So let's go ahead and do this by going to CodeGay. And we are going to create a new database table. So in order to do this, we need to go to Mysql Databases. Alright, and what we're going to do here is we're going to say new database. So this is going to be CodeGay. That's what this is. What, Evan? Okay, so, 2D top-down shooter would be a good place to start. Yeah, 2D top-down shooter is always a good place to start. Sorry, I was like lagging on the chat. Alright, so check this out. So, new database is going to be CodeGay MMO. Alright, CodeGay MMO. We're going to create that database. Alright, so now we have CodeGay MMO. And then here we're going to say we have CodeGay MMO. We need to add a user now to it. So we're going to create a new username. We're going to say CodeGay MMO as well. That's what I typically do, so I have no confusion. All right, and then the password, I'm going to use a very secure password for this. You always want to. I am going to do a password generator off screen probably. But you know what? Chances are I will change this. I will most likely, you know what, I'm not. I will change this password at a later date. So for the live stream purposes, I will let you guys see this password. I don't really care. But at a later date you'll want to, because if you do have this password, then you can easily just go ahead and take the database. Why not? So let's go ahead and pick one of these passwords. And actually, no, because it's a test, I'm just going to go ahead and do password is going to be test Alright. Nope. Password string must be at least a 5. Well, you know what? We tried. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and generate something. This will be our password. Alright, so I need to save this password somewhere. Not super thrilled about that. Alright, we're going to save it there, right? So this is our password for the username. Like I said, I'm going to change this later, but so you guys don't have to hide the screen from you. We're going to go ahead and do this. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on. So we have our create user. We're going to go ahead and create him. The next thing I need to do is I need to add him to the database as a user, as a master user, more specifically. Alright, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say user CodeGate MMO, add user to database CodeGate MMO, add. And I'm going to give him all permissions. Yep, all permissions, make changes. Yay. Alright, we're going to go back. You successfully granted privileges on the database guy. Good deal, good deal. Alright, so now let's go ahead and actually build the tables. So now let's go back here. And let's go to browse over here. And you'll see here that we should have now a new table in a minute. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Alright, 1 second guys, I'm just looking at something here. Trying to see, let me refresh that again. Let me see here, hold on. Hold on guys, I'm just looking for something here. Trying to remember how to, I'm trying to think how I wanted to do all this stuff. Let's see here. Alright, so here's what we got to do. Trying to think. Alright, so we're going to do a login and password and a sign up, right? So we're going to have, you can register a user. So we're going to have a signup.php. You need the password protected with bcrypt. So we're going to have password.php. We're going to have a login script that's going to check the password and verify. So we need a login to, and then we need an index HTML to basically host it all. So let me see how we want to do this. Alright, my database here for, alright, first off, where the hell is my database? I created it, but I don't see it. So if we go back, we should be able to go into phpMyAdmin. And my CodeGate MMO database should be here. Alright, there we go. Sweet, check it out. So we have CodeGate MMO, which is great. What we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and create some tables. Alright, so we are going to do structure. I want to add tables. CodeGate MMO. Okay, here we go. So number of columns. We're just going to do, what are we doing here? We're going to do users. So this is going to be table name Oh no, what did I call it in Money Wasted? Like just users, right? Alright, so here we're going to say players. Or yeah, players. Alright, so name is players. And how many columns are we going to have? Every player has a username, right? And every player has a password. And then what information do we want to grab from those players? Do we want to grab a username and password is given. When they sign up, what else do we want them to do? Do we want to grab their age, their email address? So maybe 4, right? I can't really think of anything else that I want. I think let's go with 4. Alright. So here, this is going to be username. Alright, and the syntax I use for this is typically all lowercase, I believe. I have my main table. Like I have my table of users as capital, and then everything else is lowercase, yeah. Alright, so inside CodeGate MMO, damn, I didn't save. Let's see here. So we have players, column 4, we're gonna go. Alright, so here we go, so check this out. So we have username, and that is varchar, or var character, right? So it's just a combination of characters, text, anything like that. Just occurred. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so length 250. And obviously I'll set the length and all that good stuff game side, so I'm not super worried about it. So default null. Correlation like UTF or some shit. Hold on. I don't really know what to put for this. I don't remember. I usually just like found something on Google that was like, do this. I don't really know what the correlation actually is or why I need it. But let me see here. So for username, okay, UTF-8 bin. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Good deal, good deal, good deal. So let's go over to here. Name players. We have username. It is varchar, 250 characters. It is null. It is correlation UTF-8 bin. Where the hell is that? UTF-8 bin. Then we have password. Also varchar, 250 characters. Null. UTF-8 bin. We have age. Alright, that's an int, right? Length, we'll say 3. I can't imagine anyone's over 199, or I'm sorry, I can't imagine anyone's over 999 years old. The default is null, correlation UTF-8. And then we want email. So let's get their email, okay? Because, hey, it's always good if you want to be able to email them about updates and promotions and gear and all that good stuff. You can gather emails. So we'll go ahead and say varchar 250 characters, null, UTF-8 bin. Alright, good deal. So what we've done here is we created a player table that holds each individual player. So every player has a username, password, age, and email. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And those tables are now created. And as you can see here, we have players. So if inside of each player, oh here, I have to create one. So let's go and actually create one. So let's go ahead and insert. Here, let's go in SQL here. So I'm going to create a player. So I'm going to say insert into player. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and say Jonathan. I think this is how it works. I'm not 100% sure. We'll try it. But Jonathan, password is test. My age is 24. And my email is john@john.com. Alright, so let's go ahead and go. Alright, so insert into players, username, password, age, email, values. You have an error in your SQL manual corresponds to your MySQL version. Jonathan test. Okay, hold on. I'm assuming that it's these, maybe? We'll try this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'm not super worried about it. Alright, so how to insert SQL query. Adding rows by using inserts like you can use SQL insert into statement. Values 1. Let's say if you're adding values for the columns of the table, you don't need to specify the column name in the SQL query. However, make sure the order of the value is the same order. Okay, value 1. I did that. Maybe it needs to be like a... Oh, okay. That's what I was missing. Duh. The value inside. Yeah, SQL is very weird. So we're going to say Jonathan test 24 john@john.com. Go. And success. Now check this out. If we go to our players, check it out. You have username Jonathan, password test, age 24, email John. And the way this is going to work now is we are going to add that information from the game. And what's going to happen is before that password fields get populated, we are going to encrypt it with what's known as bcrypt. And it will hash that password, so that's very secure. Alright, and then as you can see, I got the 24 and I got the email, which I could use at a later date for anything I want. So, pretty cool, right? I'm going to go back to the table now. I want to see the structure here. I want to drop, I don't want to drop the table, but I want to clear it now. I don't want me in there. How do I get rid of me? Oh, it's never clear how to how to get rid of something. SQL. I guess I can delete from players where 1. There we go, 1 row deleted. Alright, that's easy enough. Alright, there we go. So now we have no players anymore. Alright, but we still have all of our columns for age, email, password, and username. Alright, good deal. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's start looking at, let's get the PHP and MySQL scripts out of the way. In order to do this, we need to create a few scripts. So we're going to go into our, let me see here, we are going to go into our file manager. We're going to go to our, so we're going to do the registration first, and then we'll do this. Yeah, we're gonna do the registration logic, then the sign up logic. Trying to think. Yeah, we'll do the sign up logic followed by the login logic, and then we'll go back to Unity and we'll hook all of this up. We'll go ahead and create the login registration game side now that we're done server side. Right, so we're doing all the server side shit first. So the server is going to be what's responsible for checking and verifying, and it's going to send a response code back to Unity, and Unity is going to say, okay, you are who you say you are, let them play, or you're trying to hack someone, and goodbye. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. We are going to say public HTML. Let's go into Game Developer Bootcamp. Alright, we have nothing here. Alright, so let's go ahead and add something for our first one. Let's see, what do I want to call this? Alright, this index page is not important. I don't think it matters. I think we will need a landing page, but it should be okay. Let's go ahead and create a new file. Alright, and we're going to call this signup.php. Signup.php. Alright, so in order to do the sign up, we need to accept the password, and we need to encrypt that password with what's known as bcrypt. Alright, so in order to do that, there is a file out there, password bcrypt. Here we go, bcrypt, create a password hash using bcrypt. Alright, so this is how it works. So basically we're going to say string password hash, the password you put in, and then some integers of how many indexes I want to hash it by, which is usually like 64. Alright, good deal. And that's good. This is how it works. I want to see if there's an online, let's see, GitHub. Password bcrypt PHP file. Otherwise, I have a backup of it somewhere. I just don't want to have to look for it. So I'm trying to see if I can find it. I don't know where I would download it. Like, fuck. is there like a download file? It's one file that has like all the logic for how the password works. Damn it. Alright, hold on. I have that file. I think actually it might be in... Is it in Money Wasted maybe? Yes it is. Copy. I want to copy that and I want to go to public HTML, Game Developer Bootcamp, and I want to paste. How the fuck do I paste? Alright, hold on. Head back over to Money Wasted. I want to copy. Oh, where do I want to copy it to? Copy file to gamedeveloperbootcamp.com/ Alright, let's go to Game Developer Bootcamp. Alright, so here's the password.php script. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and open this up so you guys can see what's in it. Alright, it's not super... There is like a GitHub repo of where you grabbed this. That's where I grabbed it from. I just can't remember where it is. Oh, here it is. It looks like... actually, I don't know if that's where it is. I'll have to find it and paste a link for it or something, but just type in bcrypt and you'll learn about it, and someone will say, hey, here's where you download it. What it is it's just a PHP script that does all the bitcode encryption, and it's like just a monster of encryption. Like, I don't even understand anything that's going on with it. I just know it's like literally the best encryption. It's highly secure, and that's why I use it. Alright, so we have our password.php, and now we have our signup.php. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up our signup.php. Alright, and the first thing I need to do in a PHP script is do PHP, and then all of your code goes there. Okay? And I think it ends as well with a question mark. Alright, so all your code that we're going to run goes within this PHP script. Alright, this script is going to execute everything for the sign up process, for registering the user, putting it into the database, and then allowing you to log in. Alright, so here is how, and actually, you know, I want to see something real quickly. Okay, very cool, yeah. Alright, so let me see here. So the first thing we need to do for the sign up is we need to use that password.php script we just had. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and say require once, and I want the password.php file. So what it's going to do is it's going to grab, as long as it's right now it's in the same directory, so it's going to grab the password.php file because we're going to use it. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to create variables for the host, user, pass, and database name. Okay, so we need to create variables for the host of the website, the database user, and the database password, as well as the database name. Alright, so the way we make variables in PHP is like this. You do $, we're going to say dbHost equals... We're going to say localhost is going to be the host because that's what it is. The host for this thing here, I used to be like posted somewhere. Let me see here. Here you go. IP address. I have two options. I can use this IP address, or I can just use localhost. It's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. It's all hosted on a shared server. So if I just say localhost or that IP address, that will work. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say localhost, and then here we have database user. Alright, and the database user is that CodeGay MMO. That's the user that we created. The database pass is the, what's it called? Is that password that is long as shit. This guy. This is to access the database for CodeGay MMO. And the DB name, the database name, is the database name we created, which is CodeGay MMO, same as the user. All right, if you guys have any questions at any time during this, feel free to ask. Like I said, I'm a C# developer, guys. I can self-teach you how to do C# because I self-taught, and I self-taught myself how to do this as well. But creating PHP, MySQL stuff, it's way, I've never taught it to anyone, so it's really not. It's more so something I learned on my own to do because I needed to do this, when I was creating MMOs and stuff like that. So if you guys have questions about this, I can gladly explain it to you. But yeah, basically all I'm doing here is I'm creating a database that we can connect to and store information with. Eventually what I'd like to do is I don't want to save anything player side. I want to save everything, such as your bank account as well as your inventory and even the items in game. I want to save them on the database side so that not only can I monitor if people are duping, because I can search for, say I can keep track of the amount of gold in the game, right? If it's saved locally, you might be able to edit that value and so forth. But if I have it to where on startup it loads your inventory and bank through the database, then it's much more secure. I can also create mod systems to monitor players. So on the forums, I can look at your bank account, I can look at your inventory, and I can see if there's any suspicious activity because all of that information is stored on the website. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. So that's the idea behind everything, at least. All right, so we have all this good stuff here. The next thing we need to do is I need to create a variable to hold the connection to MySQL using. I need to create a variable to hold the connection to MySQL using what's it called? I believe it is MySQL select, and then what you do select. I think MySQL select DB. How do you select the MySQL? I'm just looking for. Okay, here we go. That's MySQL I don't want to do that. MySQL DB. My God, I'm pretty sure it's MySQL select DB. We'll find out. It'll give us an error if it's not. So what we're going to do here, create a variable to hold the connection to MySQL using MySQL select DB, and then we're going to pass in our database name variable. All right. So the way we're going to do that is simple. We're going to say MySQL select DB. So MySQL, we're going to select the database name, the variable that we used up top. All right, so this variable here is whatever we put in. So we're selecting the CodeGate MMO database. And then what we're going to do now is hold on. Before you can select a DB, so I'm just trying to see if I'm doing something out of order. I think you have to actually connect to MySQL before you can select the database. And I believe that's correct, yes. All right, so check this out. We can't do this yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable to hold connection to the MySQL using MySQL Connect is instead. So we're not going to do this just yet. What we're going to do instead is we're going to create variable to hold connection to MySQL using MySQL Connect, and we're going to pass in the DB host, the user, and pass that we created on top. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to store that in a variable called connection equals MySQL Connect, and we're going to pass in our DB host, so our database host, our database user, and our DB pass. All right, so now we have a connection. Now, once connected, let's go ahead and select the DB you want to work with using MySQL select DB, and then you pass in the DB name. All right, so we're going to say MySQL select DB, and then here we're going to pass in the database we want to select, which is DB name, which is CodeGate MMO. Alrighty, cool. Everyone still with me? You guys enjoying this stream still? Let me know in the comments if you are. Alright, so we're going to do require once password.php. We're doing the database host, user, pass, and name. We're creating a connection using MySQL connect, db host, db user, db pass, and then we're doing MySQL select db database name. Alright, so we're grabbing CodeGate MMO now. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to, we're going to grab information, right, from the app. So we need to create a variable to store the username sent from Unity. We need a variable to store the password sent from Unity. Alright, and then what else do we need? We need a variable to store the age sent from Unity. We need a variable to store the email sent from Unity. Make sense? Alright, so the way we're going to do this is we use this thing called a real escape string. Alright, and this works with, it's basically how we can extract data, basically. We're going to extract data from Unity when we send it over to the website. So, and you'll see how that works when we do that website. But what we're going to do here is we're going to have a username for the player equals MySQL real escape string, and what we're going to do is we're going to say underscore post. Alright, so there's two things. There's post and get. So you can get information or you can post information. So this is what we're doing here is we're grabbing the posted information from Unity. So we're grabbing whatever was posted in the field titled username. Alright, so that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call the field username, just like as it's spelt from Unity. And what it's going to do, it's going to say, hey, something with a field called username was sent, assign it to this variable. So MySQL real escape, oh, this is important, this spelling has to be exact. Real escape string, let me see, a real escape string post username. Alright, that looks correct. Alright, and then I can go ahead and close that off and add that. Alright, so now all I have to do now is pretty easy. I just go ahead and copy username, MySQL real escape string post, and then what's the next one, right? The next one is password. Password. Here we're going to say password. Alright, so now we're grabbing the username and password. And then, of course, we want the age. And then, of course, we want what? The email, right? The email. Okay. Alright, save that. So now we're storing, whoops, sorry, no, okay. So now we are, just saving it here. So now we have our variables for what we're going to grab from Unity. Now what we need to do is we need to create a variable to store the query you'd like to run in the database. Alright, so we're going to create a variable to store the query. Alright, so create a variable to store the query we'd like to run in the database. Alright, so create a variable to store the query we'd like to run in the database. Alright, so query is basically the MySQL section. We're going to create a query that's going to iterate through the database, check if the username exists. If it doesn't exist, we're going to add that username and the password you provided to the database and post it. Alright, so that it's there. So the first thing we need to do is we need to check if the user exists, okay? Alright, so let's see here. Trying to think here. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys the syntax for how we create something in a comment here. So basically, what we need to do is, this is the syntax for it, okay? You use the keyword select because we're going to be selecting a table. And what we're going to do here is we are going to say select all from, and then here we have table name. And then we're going to go ahead and say where, and then we have column name equals, and what we're going to do here is we do this $sign thing. It's like a value basically. So you do a quote, you get the value, so some variable dot quote, right? So that's how you get that value, and then Alright, so that's how we make a query. So we're going to store that line of code based on, we're going to use that line of code to determine logic that we want to perform. Alright, so let me see here. And then we also want to place this in a string because that's how the query is read. Alright, so here we go. So we need to check if the username already exists. Okay? So we need to check if the username already exists. So to do this, we're going to say check user equals a MySQL query. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass in that line from above. So I'm going to say, it has to be in strings. Right? So I'm going to say select, and I'm going to say all. Alright, so I'm going to say select all, and that's this. That's what this asterisk does. This little star, it says select all from, and then basically I want what table name, right? So select all from table name, which is players, which is what I defined right here, if you remember. So the table is players, and then I want column username. So I'm going to go ahead and say select all from players, where, and then the column name. So the column name is username. So where username equals, dot variable, and that variable is the username that we receive. So we're going to say dot $sign username received from Unity. And what that's going to do is that's going to check the user for us. Alright, so now that user query is stored in this variable. So what we need to do now is we need to see if anything was returned as, hey, this username is already existing. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to say check to see if a row returns with the username received. Alright, so check to see if a row returns with the username received from Unity. So this is really easy. Here's how we do this, right? So we're going to say row match. I'm going to create a variable that's going to hold each row, and we're going to basically just iterate through it, if that makes sense. Alright, so here we have row match is going to equal a MySQL num rows. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab all the rows, and then I can pass in a query. So it's going to say check user. And what this row match is doing is it's going to say, hey, grab all the rows and pass in that query. And what now happens is row match equals the amount of rows returned with that query. So if there's 5, row match is 5. If there's 1, row match is 1. All right? So here's how this works now. We're going to say if row match, right, the variable we just created, which stores the rows with that name in it, equals 0, then guess what? Username available, right? Because if the row wasn't 0, meaning that we had 1 or more, that means that username is already taken and we need to tell them. But if row match equals 0, the username is available, and what we need to do now is we need to insert them into the database. Alright, insert them into the database. So how do we do that? And before we do that, we need to also encrypt their password. Alright, we want to encrypt their password. Alright, so here's how we do this. Let's encrypt their password first, okay? So we're going to encrypt the password, username variable, encrypt their password, then database. Alright, so encrypt their password, then database. So here's how we do this. We're going to say the password, alright, this variable matches the variable received from you as whatever your password is. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say password equals MySQL real escape string. So password equals MySQL real escape string. It's important that the spelling's accurate on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in the password hash. Password underscore hash, and this is used from bcrypt. And what it's going to do is a password hash takes a password and a password default. So I'm going to say the password you put in, which is the password received from Unity, which is this, and then we're going to go ahead and say password default, right? Password default, and we're going to close it off. And we can do that. Right now what's happened is we took your password and we just hashed it with bcrypt. Alright, so password hash is from this. It's from this guy. So if we look in here, password hash, you're going to see here, function password hash, I pass in your password, and then I pass in a default for it. And let me see here. There you go. So defined as password default, and then password bcrypt. Alright, so what I'm doing is I pass in your password and I'm using the just bcrypt password. It's just how you call it. I truly don't understand it. I just know you have to call password default. It's how it's defined. Alright, so let's see there. Alright, so let's move on. What's next? Alright, so let's go ahead. So we hash the password. Alright, so we encrypt their password. And then after we encrypt their password, alright, so we're encrypting the password received from Unity. And then afterwards, what do we want to do? Now we need to actually insert into the database. So we're going to use the keyword insert into database. The username pass, let's say insert into database, the username pass, age, and email. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to create a variable to do it for us. So we're going to say insert query, insert user query, insert user query equals, we're going to say insert into table name, which is players. Alright, so we're going to insert into players, and then the values that we're actually going to insert. So I want to say now the column name. So we're going to say insert into players, and then we have column names. We have username. What else do we have? We have username, we have password, we have age, and then we also have email. And these have to be specifically spelled the way they're defined here: age, email, password, username. Alright, now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and insert the values to associate with each of those in the order. So we go ahead and say values, and these values are mapped to 0, 1, 2, and 3, just as they're written here. Alright, so this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So the first value that I put here is going to be the values mapped to these. So for the username, the value is $, the username received from Unity, so username. The password is the password received from Unity. Whoops. Alright, the password received from Unity. And here we have to put a comma in between these. Alright, so password received from Unity. The next one is the age received from Unity. Alright, and then the last one is the email received from Unity. Alright, so we have email received from Unity. Alright, and then we close that off. Alright, so that's our query. Now in order to actually do the insertion, it's just stored in a variable right now. We need to run the query to insert them into the database. Alright, so we're going to say run one query to insert into database. So the way we do that is we just say MySQL query, and then we want to run insert query. Alright, so we're going to run that query. We're going to say MySQL query, run the insert query, and now we are good. Afterwards, we would need to return a message to the user saying registration complete, and we want this instance of the PHP server to die. So I'm going to say die sign up completed. Sign up completed. Done. This is going to close the instance of PHP and return this message back to Unity. So die sign up completed. Now this is where we have an else statement. What if row match is not equal to 0, meaning that it's 1 or greater? That means that, well, we're going to stop everything and we're going to say username already exists. Username already exists. And that's what's going to be returned to Unity. So we'll catch that, and then we can say to the user, hey, username already exists. Alright, so this completes the code required for the sign up page. Alright, so let's see here. Let's see here. I'm going to update the description on this thing. Setting up the MySQL database to store user information. So our database to setting up the MySQL database to a login registration system. Storing username, password, age, and email. We created the sign up. We created the sign up PHP page in this stream. Alright guys, hey, so I'm going to keep going, but I want to break the stream out so that I can save these videos kind of like in sections. So this is going to be, we completed the sign up here, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to come back here in like 2 minutes, and we'll go ahead and work on the login logic next. Alright? I will be right back.